Yeah. All right, Mark in Astoria starts us off. What's up, Mark? Yes, Mark.
Hi, Mike. How are you? Yeah, calling from a Bronco fan here, obviously disappointed with the results from last night, but calling from a Giants perspective. Mike, do you think there's anything to the fact that you had your first game without Odell Beckham and also Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is suspended? So you have two guys who you can kind of call negative influences in their own way on the team, and they're not present for the game, and yet the Giants come out with their best effort of the season. Is there anything you could equate to that, even a little bit, that might have had an impact on the result yesterday?
I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
Listen, Cromartie made his bed. I do think at times, and thanks for the call, I do think Beckham can be a negative influence on the team. I really believe that. I know people think he's a positive with his energy. I think sometimes he can be a negative. He takes him in the wrong direction. But I don't think that was the case. I think basically it was a week where the guys in charge of that team did a good job of getting their team ready to play. And you have to give the coach credit for getting his team ready to play, because if they had gone out last night and lost 30-0, he would have gotten slaughtered. He didn't. His team was together. Now, to me, they didn't do all that much on offense. They ran the ball a little better. Their offensive line made some plays against a team that surprisingly you wouldn't expect to. They didn't do a whole lot on offense, but defensively I thought they played well. And, whether it was taking the ball away, making some plays in the secondary, Collins making plays in the secondary. Denver obviously helped with some bad, mistakes, missing field goals, not scoring on the goal line. I mean, there's a lot of things they did, but from that standpoint, I think you just have to credit the organization and credit the head coach for getting his team ready to play the game. I mean, they're professionals and they acted like it. Mike in Westchester, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to thank you for all the years. I'm 33, and I've been listening to you since I was in preschool. But I was at the Jet game yesterday, and I think the biggest turning point was the picked up play against Robbie Anderson. I thought it completely changed the game, because they were up 14-0, going in possibly going to go score again, and then it just took the wind out of their sails. On top of the horrific pass interference with Jamal Adams on Gronk.
I thought that was terrible. I thought that was a terrible call. I also thought the pick before the half was a devastating pick. I thought because they had a chance to get in there with the lead, and to me that one was just, if they just could have stayed away from the mistake right there. And listen, I don't have a problem with the being aggressive, but he did make some bad throw decisions yesterday. Among some good decisions, he made some bad decisions. And you're going to have to, if you're going to beat that team there, you're going to have to play, for them, they're going to have to play flawlessly almost. They didn't play flawlessly. They made a bunch of mistakes yesterday. They also made some plays. They hung in there. They fought, which I think this team is going to show you that it's going to do. You got to give them credit for that. They're showing up every week. They're playing hard. But I thought right before the half, not getting in after the way the first half had gone, thanks for the call, not getting in with the lead was devastating for them. Lou in Eastchester, what's up, Lou?
Mike, what's going on? I'm a Giant fan, happy about the win, but I'm really calling about the Jets fumble. As a Giant fan, just watching that, it made my stomach turn. That's aggravating stuff. I feel like this evolution of the challenges and the replays with sports, it's gone too far, and it's taken too much of the human element out of officiating. Do you see it going backwards at all to where maybe there aren't mandated plays like touchdowns and turnovers reviewed?
It would be hard to do that, Lou. The umpires, think of how many plays you've seen in baseball this year and in football where there have been horrific calls that had to be overturned that you're like, where did this call come from? This is
right.
See, the obvious overturn where we all know, boy, what an incredibly bad call, and they overturn it and you don't even think twice about it. Those plays are being served well because of it replay. What happens, though, is when you get a play that they go in there on that play and there's really no evidence that you can even discernibly see, and they get it down to where they see the slightest movement of the ball as he hits the pylon on the second regrasping of the ball. I mean, that's where it's just very hard to take. And because as we looked at it the second time, I mean, to me it looked like, hey, yes, the ball was moving. Yes, he regained it as he was going in, touchdown. And I thought for sure, touchdown. I was stunned when they overturned it. And then to have them make the statements they did later and hear the statements, and thanks for the call that Corinthi made, that, hey, we easily had the ball moving. He was clearly moving when he hit the pylon. He was out of bounds. He didn't have possession. I mean, I think they know they got the call right, but, you know, the idea is it's such a minuscule movement of the ball that we're now finding on the replay. It makes it very hard to take. I understand that from a Jet fan point. I understand why you'd be irate with that one. Ryan and Breezy Point, what's up, Ryan?
Yeah, and let's face it, Mike, the Pats were bad in the first 20 minutes of that game yesterday. They had a lot of drops, and there was a couple bad routes. Cooks had a bad drop, and Gronk had a drop. But just juxtaposed with the Giants, the Jets are just a breath of fresh air because it's an egoless group. They got guys Kurtz and Safarian Jenkins and McGuire. They just seem to enjoy playing hard, and they got a lot of energy in the back.
Yeah, they're playing well. You know what? They're playing hard. They're playing hard. They're going out there, and they're giving it everything they have. And listen, we know they're limited in some areas, but you know what? You're getting a good day's pay out of them. You got some young players there who are learning how to play in this league. You know, I thought the call against Gronkowski. I thought, listen, I understand that you got a rookie going up, and thanks for the call. You got a rookie going up against Gronkowski. Gronkowski's going to get the call. But, you know, the idea is not to give Gronkowski a penalty when he's mugging the safety. And he was mugging the safety. So, I mean, and listen, that's what a veteran player does. You got a superstar player against a rookie. He's going to get that call. A year from now, Adams will get that call, or there'll be no call. I mean, so we know that, but, you know, you got to pay your dues, which I think he even understands, but it's still tough to take. Ira in Staten Island, go ahead, Ira. Yes, Ira.
Hey, Mike. Hey, I tell you, the Adams call really, I mean, you know.
That was a terrible call.
Yeah, and it's almost like Michael Jordan basketball. You know, once
it is. He's going to get the call. I mean, it's hard to tell someone that he's going to get the call, but and he did initiate the contact, but he's going to get that call. He is.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been non-call. And, you know, the officiating, too, even with the touchdown with Jenkins, is ridiculous. But, you know, you talk about the game. You're right. I think right before the half, that pick really changed the way this game could possibly turn out. I mean, you know, basically, that was a two-score thing. You know, instead of going in 14-7, maybe 17-7, all of a sudden it's a tie. And, you know, we've seen it time. And, I mean, how many, since Brady's on the Pats, how many times have I seen the Pats score right before the half and then come down in the third quarter? But, you know, the bottom line is, you know, it was a great effort. They came up short. They made a couple of mistakes, of course, in the game. The officiating, if they took it away. But, you know, the thing that still puzzles me, and I give them credit for a lot of things they've accomplished so far this year, I just don't understand the defensive line and how they just
playing. Well, they got guys playing out of position, and what they're asking them to do, they can't do. So it's interesting. He's done a good job with the defense overall, but he has not gotten the productivity out of these linemen that he should. I mean, and it's surprising because, you know, they put a lot of money and they have a lot of premium picks wrapped up in those linemen, and they're not getting what they need out of those guys. I mean, they should be far more aggressive. They should be far more impactful than they are.
And you know what's interesting? I mean, you know, we spoke about it for years. You know, to get Brady to rattle him, you have to go between the guards. You got to go up the A gap. You got to go to the A gap.
And they didn't do it. Yeah, that's the only way you can attack him is have a guy who can get interior pressure like a Merciless. A Merciless is a perfect guy who drives him crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. That's the way you have to attack him. And you're right, the Jets are not getting a lot out of their defensive linemen for whatever reason. And, you know, it's funny, ever since they brought the kid in from USC, it's been an ill-fitted group. For some reason, he and the rest of the group just never seem to take off together for whatever reason. And I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be the case. Thanks for the call, Ira. Alan Paramus, what's up, Al?
Hey, Mike, you know, on the touchdown in the game, you know, I think it's a great point that you made. Refs now having
I'm sorry, Al. I got to let you go. We can't hear you. You're breaking up the whole time. I can't hear your call. Vincent Trenton, go ahead, Vince.
Hey, Mike, on the fumble call, that's twice now in 2 weeks I saw that. In the Ram game last week, Burley fumbled. Ref says touchdown, who's right there. they take it down. But my real question to you is the rationale of only in that instance the offense loses possession of the ball, whereas if they fumble out of bounds at any other spot on the field, they retain possession. And I almost think it's kind of inconsistent with, for some wacky, reason that if they fumble and it trickles out of bounds in the end zone, you lose possession and becomes a touchback.
So you want the rule to be that if you fumble it into the end zone or through the end zone, it's still your ball? Where would you place the ball?
On the 1 yard line. The 1 yard line is the arbitrary spot.
What's the reasoning though? Why the 1 yard line?
Just only in that instance is the defense awarded the ball. But if you fumble it and it goes out of bounds at any other spot on the field, the offense retains possession. I just don't see the miraculous 180 degrees in that one instance where the offense fumbles the ball.
Because you've now fumbled it into a scoring area where the ball is live. If you can score, if you can land on it, and if not, their feeling is now it was no longer, you've left the field of play. Now it is anybody's ball, so we feel it goes the other way. You've had your chance to score. It was a scoring opportunity. Now the ball changes possession. That's always been the way. Now, listen, you could make a rule. I mean, if you wanted to say the rule is if I fumble the ball through the end zone, I still get the ball on the one, but that would be I don't know if that would be equitable to the defense that, if you fumbled the ball on the, that you would get on the 1 yard line. I mean, I don't know how equitable that would be for the defense. I mean, it's the rule for both teams. It's not like it's
no, I hear you.
It's not a subjective rule. I mean, yeah. Listen, it's always been the rule, and I mean, the theory here was, we all thought, and I did too. I thought that Sven Jenkins hit the pylon with the ball, and that's a touchdown. I thought he did that. They're saying he had never regained possession when the ball hits the pylon, and that means it's going out of bounds. So that's the end of it right there. It's out of bounds. So I thought he had possession when they hit the pylon. They say and thanks for the call, they say he didn't, which changed everything. Now, the idea that whether or not it's equitable or not, I mean, we could debate that. I'd have to give it some more thought. I've never really thought about whether we should change the rule on that. The idea that it's a bad rule, I'd have to listen to more debate about why it's a bad rule. It's the rule. It's always been the rule. I don't know why it's a bad rule. Now, it was a heartbreaking replay because instead of 7 points, it turns over to be a turnover, given the ball to the Pats, which was heartbreaking. There's no question about it. And it didn't look like there was video evidence of it, which they swear they have if you run it down. I still haven't seen that evidence. Corinthians says it wasn't even a hard call. They even went that far to say it wasn't even a hard call. So it sounds like they do have the video evidence. I didn't see it. There's a couple of plays where there were replays yesterday where I didn't think I got clear video evidence of anything. Back after this.